Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah.
Welcome to it. Mouth guitar. Nothing is
Fuck
lamer.
yeah. We're back. Number 28.
Mouth drums is lamer than mouth guitar. I was wrong.
What? You think?
Yeah, as a musician, nothing is worse. Okay, I can tell you this. You're in a sound stage, and you look at the drummer, and you're the singer or the guitar player, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that. And the drummer's just looking at you like, really? That's exactly what it's like, huh? That sounds like absolutely fucking nothing. Anyone who plays on the drums. Because mouth guitar is bad. Like, yeah, okay, man, I want you to go like, wee. But every guitar player knows, like, oh, okay, just like play the Flunanu part again, go into like the bridge, and then Flunanu some more, and we're good. And that's the kind of language you develop, you know, quick pro quo back and forth with other musicians when you're not professional musicians. Like when you're punk rockers and like self-taught, none of this like, okay, I want you to like go to the chord of G and go back like 3 beats and like right there, right? On the intro on the sixth, partway through the bridge, I want you to hit a high G and then just bring it back through. None of that. It's like, yeah, I want the Flunanu part right after the bridge. When I go, whoa, right, then you go, wee, you know what I mean? And then the drum guy, you like that fast part, you know, like the fast part. And then but if you listen to recordings of those sessions later, the one thing that stands out in your mind is that anyone doing the mouth guitar or like drums, whatever, while they're doing it, sounds like a fucking idiot every time. And it never sounds like anything. Yeah. And when you hear the actual song that comes out of those kind of sessions, you're like, that was ridiculous. There's no way any of that correlates. So it's almost like, it's like you want to play the song next to the guys in the studio going, okay, the Flunanu. And then it's like, that's a pretty wild guitar solo. It sounds awesome when you actually hear it. But the Flunanu is what that was, right? That was what that really was. So I just wanted to say, when we all started in there in the mouth guitar stuff, right. That's just always.
I just want to point out that the opinions of Bob do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the three of us. I definitely believe that Trevor and I could start a solid mouth band. Maybe you on mouth guitar, and I could nail the mouth drums. I think we could do it.
These guys could definitely make some money.
I don't have to agree with everything Bob says.
That's for sure.
And I flat out disagree with that.
Could Bob do mouth lyrics in our band?
Flat out. Mouth lyrics?
Yeah.
I think that's just lyrics. Isn't that what mouth lyrics are?
I don't know.
Just, yeah. I
not
disagree.
necessarily, but we're not going into that.
Not according to
later.
We're going
to
start
a mouth band later.
So.
See? He's nailing it.
So can we edit that out in post?
No, that's staying.
No,
forever.
okay, that's in forever. I thought it might be. It's like the tarnish on my soul told me I was going to have to hear that again at some point.
We always start with so much controversy right off the top.
Do we?
Usually he says something and I immediately disagree with it.
That's usually a good way
That's not controversy. That's just you being fucking contrary.
Oh, okay.
That's a hook.
In the face of my logic.
I'm just saying I don't have to agree with everything you say. So sometimes I butt heads with him.
I'm super glad that people just don't always agree with the things that I say. Because I do sometimes say completely ludicrous shit. So that'd be awesome. I mean, although it'd be weird to walk around and be able to say absolutely anything you wanted to and have a positive response to it, no matter what it was. But that'd be probably interesting only for like 24 hours until you just got bored because you couldn't offend anyone, and offending people is kind of amusing. But like when the guy at the store across the street had like half a roll of toilet paper stuck up his nose, and I walked in and I was like, "Hi, I'd like to get a pack of cigarettes," and he was just looking at me like just sincerely. We're having like an interchange for a few minutes, and there's like this huge wad of toilet paper. So finally, I just started joking. I was like, "I really like your piercing." And then he gave me like this death face. Like, what, you're acknowledging the fact that I have half a roll of toilet paper jammed at my nose while I'm working at a convenience store in a public service relationship with you? I was like, yep. Thanks for the smokes. Sorry to offend you, but
what the hell?
My internal monologue was, why the fuck do you have half a roll of toilet paper jammed in your face working behind the counter at a convenience store? Did you just get mugged? Like, you're not bleeding. It's not blood-soaked rag. You're just like, oh, I had a bit of the sniffles, so I decided to put like a fistful of napkins up my nose. Great. No one's going to notice that shit when they come in to buy stuff. I don't know. Just strikes me as odd. Like if I was standing at the front door with like half a newspaper sticking out of one of my nostrils, right? And someone walked up to the front door. I'm like, ID, please? And they were like, kind of giving me a weird look. You know, I would think to myself, I think to myself, yeah, they're like, what's the news? Exactly. I'd be like, what? How dare you, sir? I always carry the New York Times in my nostril. Like, I don't know, sometimes. Like you see people acting ridiculous and behaving super strangely, and then they act as though they're offended by the fact that you noticed. The same thing happened at work the other week. There was a woman, she came outside, she had a bag. She walks over to the garbage can and starts smashing the bag against the garbage can. And you can hear breaking glass in this bag. And there's a bunch of guys like this frat, it was a bachelor party, standing outside watching this girl smash this bag, make all this like broken glass noise, and then try and pour broken glass out of this plastic bag into the garbage can. So the guys are like, some of these guys are like, "What's up, love? Like, what's going on with this? Like, hey, what are you doing?" And so she tells this story. She's like, like I had a picture frame and I kind of broke part of the picture frame. I figured it'd just be easier to get the picture out if I smashed all the glass and yada yada. Okay, I guess that sort of makes some sense. But at like 12:30 on a Friday night, when you walk in the middle of in front of a crowded bar and just start smashing a bag full of glass against this garbage can, people are going to look at you weird, like that's a strange thing. So after these guys are like, "Can I help you?" This and that, she goes, "That seems like mansplaining to me." I started to laugh so hard. I was like, if that's mansplaining, wow. Like, I'm confused. Like, how is that constructive? Hon, why are you breaking a bag full of glass in front of the bar? You mansplainer! Sorry. It's like the guy who wanders in dressed like Napoleon at like Starbucks and demands that he's going to take Gibraltar, which is the table next to the window. And everyone's just like, "Oh, that's Napoleon. He orders an espresso and takes Gibraltar every morning." Like, don't worry about it. That's not normal either. Since these things don't happen that way, it's bizarre world to me that we also have these like expectations of like, I can be totally strange and no one's going to notice. Because I don't get away with that shit. When I'm totally fucking strange, everybody fucking notices. In fact, when I'm just riding the bus drinking a coffee, everybody notices. So I don't expect any leeway from that either, right? Like, I'm not immune to that philosophy.
They're like, why is that giant drinking a coffee on this bus?
It's weird. The reactions I get are totally strange, man. People either treat me like part of the scenery. Like, I've had people lean on me, like I'm a pillar when I'm standing at the subway station, and then when I'm kind of like poke and move them away, then they look up and go. When you're standing there on a sweaty summer afternoon, I'm a construction worker, right? Coming home from my job after working out in the sun, building something all day, sweat soaked, stinking like shit, wearing a tank top, standing on the subway desk holding the pole. Have people stand in my armpit, like I'm not there. And it's like the top of their head is rubbing on my sweaty pit. And I'm not moving because I don't know why you're here.
Have you ever had people seek shade from you?
Yes. Yes, I have. At a music concert festival with my ex, like, I don't know where we were at Downsview Park. And there's literally no shade there at all. And I was wearing one of my other hats. I have another black hat, sort of like this one, but it looks more like the Undertaker's hat. It's a much wider brim. So I smartly brought that hat with me thinking this is going to be a shit show kind of day, and I'm pretty pale and I burn pretty good. So, yeah, I'm wearing this hat, and it's like people during the morning at the very beginning of the festival, people are like pointing and chuckling and laughing and stuff, right? Look at this giant hat, let's go, right? But by 2:00 in the afternoon, I was standing there drinking a beer, and I literally had people huddling in my shadow. I could see them moving their blankets over to sit in front of where I was standing, and I could tell because I'd like take a step to the left or take a step to the right, just like do, and watch people move again. Yeah. So yes, I've had people hide in my shadow before.
There was a 40-member Filipino family having a family reunion in his shadow. They had a lovely time. Excellent picnic.
It was great.
Has anyone offered to like climb you in a festival to be like, I'll give you $20 if I can watch the festival from your shoulders?
Yes, but when topless girls offer to climb on your back to watch the show, they don't need to offer you $40.
Right.
Have you ever been used as like a giant log to cross a crevasse or gorge, like a fallen tree? Everyone escape. We need to escape the orcs. Across this way. Bob, please. But you would volunteer in this situation, I'm sure, because you're a man of virtue.
Yeah, sure. Yes, Lars, because I want you to have that fantasy and want it to live on. Yes, of course.
Right?
It lives.
He just reaches it. We just all hop on him like an ant, and then he carries us.
Let's just bridge crevasses on. No.
You're a weapon of
sounds
war.
like we're in South America.
That has never happened. I almost ended up in South America this
Speaking
weekend.
of South America, is this something that you want to talk about since it's current?
Yeah, I'll tell the story. Why not?
Okay.
So this weekend after work, my friend and manager was like, "Oh, I want to hang out and have a few drinks. I've had an interesting weekend, blah, blah, his own problems." And I'm like, "Sure, awesome. Let's have a couple beers." Now, some of my other coworkers, who I know very well, would normally stay and drink, ran away right away. Like, no, we're leaving right now. And didn't explain to me that this man is the devil. He's the devil. He doesn't drink very much. He doesn't drink very often. He's a very, he's a medium-sized guy. He's wiry. He's wiry. So you wouldn't expect it. You really wouldn't.
Is he Irish?
No, I think he's.
Do you know his background?
I don't know. I wouldn't speculate. It doesn't really matter. But he is the devil, and we started to have a few drinks together. So I don't know. 5 hours later, we're still drinking, and I realized that what I think are shots of whiskey are half glasses of whiskey, and I was talking about how I hadn't been anywhere. I don't travel. Planes are small, and I'm broke, and that sort of a thing. Like you don't travel much when you're broke and planes are small. It's sort of the end of that, right? So our other friend who's drinking with us, who also ran away before the end of the night, wise of him, says, "Oh, I have family in Colombia and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, it's amazing. I've never been anywhere. If we went there, could we stay with your family?" He's like, "Oh, yeah." So
Family.
So yeah, my boss and friend whips out $7,000 in cash right there on the spot. It's like, "Yeah, let's call a cab. Let's go to the airport. We're going to go now. Let's go to Colombia. Come on, let's go."
Nice.
And I'm like, "All right, let's do this." We were that close to going. And then once again, I looked down at that glass. And I saw it was half a glass of whiskey. And I laughed. And I'm like, "Oh, whiskey, you almost got me. You're almost got me."
I see what's going on.
Yeah, those wily tricks of yours. Those wily tricks
You almost
of
got
yours.
whisked away.
Yeah, and that's, and I've done that a lot over the years. And the thing about getting blackout drunk is for days after you have this like lingering depression because you don't know the length to which you're going to hear the terrible, terrible stories. Like I keep expecting the phone to chirp and to get the, "Well, so you like, I don't know, robbed a convenience store naked,"
Right.
or like did something, you know what I mean? And to tell you the truth, there have been a number of occasions where it's like for 4 or 5 days, I'm piecing together the last 2 or 3 days of my life because I have no idea what the fuck happened.
Through receipts and like bank.
Well, no.
Statements.
Usually it's much more like you just run into one person and they give you a piece of the story. They're like, "Oh, I saw you at this place." And so you're like, "Okay, now I know I was at this place. Who was probably there that I can give a discreet phone call to and, chat about?" Or you wait for the chain of unfortunate text messages and phone calls and don't even call anyone and just get the play-by-play of your own horrible behavior from 5 or 6 different sources. And so you're just like, "Well, I better send a chain I'm sorry to virtually everybody I know because I had one of those weekends."
And you're very interesting too because you more than most people are noticeable and
Right.
compelling and stick in people's minds if they saw you. So you probably have more of a chance than the average person of other people piecing together your
Yes.
night because they pay attention.
Absolutely.
Also, really funny too when you're kind of the gatekeeper. The fun is McNabb's puts it the fun police. So when you're always the fun police, and all of a sudden they see the guy who's shutting
Right.
it down, just fucking
Who's
off his
policing
rocker.
the police?
Well, what's really fucked up is when you're that destroyed, people often go up to you like, "Oh, well, look at the tables it turned now," forgetting the fact that when that guy is that destroyed, you probably shouldn't be playing around with them.
Right.
So either you get like knocked the fuck out on the sidewalk, or you get dragged into the party and forced to drink like a 60 of rum. Be like, "Here, you want to party with me? That's what you think? I'm the fun police. Fun police, this motherfucker." A couple days later, he's in the hospital getting his stomach pumped on fucking Thorazine for all the drugs he's on, and I'm just like, "Woo!" And the hurricane moves on to another locality, right?
Hurricane move.
Man, I called this one girl one time. I called this one girl 31 times in a night because we had like I thought we were golden, right? And I don't remember calling her even one time. And my brother told me the next day, he's like, "I begged you to give your phone to me. I'll just put it away." And you just kept calling, leaving progressively drunken and more obnoxious phone messages.
Boy.
I did it all night long, literally. And the next day, I had just one text from her. She's like, "Delete my number." And I didn't know why because I didn't remember these phone calls until my brother gets up and he walks into the room and he takes one look at me and I'm looking at the phone. And I'm like, he's like, "Is that her?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, just delete my number." He's like, "You just do it." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Just do it." He's like, "You got no chance with that ever again." Like, you don't know last night, do you? I'm like, I have no idea what happened. He's like, yeah, see, that's the fucking thing. You called her like 20 times plus, 23 times. Left progressively more drunken messages. Yeah, baby, together out love stars. Like, it's the thing, you know what I mean? Like, you just coming back right now, and you'll not be a man, bro. Yeah, progressively, just drooling, like, well, it's calling me back. I don't know, it's time to call me back. You know you love me. I love me too. Just brutal.
Mr. Hyde just
I feel like we can all check that box. I can certainly check that box.
Yeah, that's a brutal one. Yeah, definitely.
How about you?
Big check mark.
Category?
I don't remember.
Well, yeah, but yeah. So. Yeah, okay.
I've done the inappropriate texting thing, like where you sort of know a girl, and then not the dick pics, Jabril. Sorry, still not there. But I have definitely done sending text messages like wildly inappropriate, like where are you right now? I'll come over to your house. I'm a sex machine, sexual tyrannosaurus. You know, and the next day the girl, and I've even had favorable response, like the favorable being this. They text you back, thanks, Bob. Not really interested, but that was awesome. I mean, me and my friends laughed really good about that. That was great. And then you're like, yes, I snuck under the radar because they have no idea how fucking destroyed I really was. Like, you know?
And folks, you are not going to believe this. Bob, you're not going to believe it either. We did a little research before the show, and we have all 31 messages right here. We're going to listen to them all. Here we go. Could you imagine? That'd be great.
Just a smash cut.
The thing is, I can't imagine, and that's the worst part.
You think they were...
no, they started off like, I'm sure that knowing me, I started off and I was actually like reasonably suave. Like the first two or three were probably just normal. Like, hey babe, how's it going? Thing. I'm out hanging out. Don't know where you're at. We're gonna change bar locations. I'll call you back later and let you know where we're at if we're still hanging out tonight or what have you, right? Second one, yeah, we moved locations at the next bar, getting a little more toasted. Love to see ya. Get this message, give me a call. Third one's like, starting to get drunk, and my brother started looking at me about the phone, like, maybe you shouldn't have the phone anymore. But then, still, I'd say it was more like, hey, girl, missing you, having a great time, night's awesome, wish you were here. Fourth, fifth, and sixth begin to become nonsense. We're like, I'm not sure where we are, but we're still really wasted. If you want to still meet us somewhere, you should come out. And, it's 9 through to 23, where, again, you're just sitting there destroyed, and every couple of minutes you pick your phone up and think, oh, I should call that girl that I want to see. And so you just push the call button. Oh, there's the number. And so and you don't realize it's a sense of time that's gone, easy. Right? That's really the problem. Yeah, it's not that I spent all that much more time getting that much more drunk.
You don't
it's just that I called her in rapid succession for like half an hour.
But you just don't remember like 10 minutes. It's like every 10 minutes you have a reset.
Yeah, like goldfish memory.
Goldfish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look, it's a castle.
Did you ever do that like message when you called her and then like forget to hang up?
This is Tubinator right here.
Honestly, Jim, I have no idea. I don't know what the messages were.
10-minute message is just you and your friends,
just like pocket
like
talk,
playing pool and doing all that.
I've definitely gotten those myself.
Yeah, God knows what's being said.
You and your buddies are like, yeah, I hope she calls me back.
Yeah,
I really
come
want to
on
bang
up.
her.
We're at this place. And it's like, hey,
totally call her.
look at her.
One of my friends caught his girlfriend cheating that way. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. They were like,
left her phone on?
No, she was making out with the dude she was cheating with, and her phone was in her purse.
I've heard of that.
And the two of them were like making out, and the phone, it doesn't. I don't know how it happens to me sometimes, but I'll pocket dial someone at just walking around. You know what I mean? Her phone pocket dialed her boyfriend, and they start fucking loud and hard.
You're such a good kisser, Kyle.
And you can hear.
You kiss so much better than my boyfriend.
And so my buddies there were sitting there, and he takes his phone out, puts it on speaker. He's like, "What the hell am I hearing?" And after a second, we're all like, I think it's pretty obvious what we're hearing, right? You know what I mean? But there's some pretty obvious like noises that don't, we're not clapping while eating popsicles.
There was vigorous applause,
right? Like, you see what I mean? Like, yeah. And then the moaning and the like, oh yeah. And I'm like, I grabbed the phone and I'm just like turned it off and I'm like, so I'm gonna buy the next round of shots. You want to stay at my place this weekend?
That's traumatizing.
Kind of Because you're not going home. He's like, I'm going back home right now. I'm like, no.
No, you're not. That
Yeah, for double homicide / suicide. What do they call that?
Murder-suicide?
Yeah, triple murder-suicide.
I was just like, yeah, you're going to stay at my
Double-murder-suicide.
place for a bit.
So,
Yeah.
episode 28 just rolling here.
That just reminds me. This is stupid, but
Yeah, police your fucking phones, ladies and gentlemen. I'm serious. It's one of those things. Like, just trust me. You can ruin your life with a bad phone call.
Adam Sandler used to have, on one of his albums, had a audio sketch that was, they were playing a game show, and it was, is it sex or is it working out? And it was like, now we're gonna play you an audio clip, and you need to decide, is it sex or is it working out? And it was like, oh, we are definitely fucking. We are for sure fucking. Oh my God, you fuck so good. Well, was it sex or working out? And they'd be like, I think it was sex. They'd be like, no, that was actually working out. They were doing bench press. Like, it was great. Check it out.
Yeah.
Shout out to Adam Sandler. No matter what, it was like you'd hear one, it was for sure sex, and it would be working out, and then you'd hear working out, and they're like, no, they were fucking. They were fucking.
They were fucking. Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. So you almost went to Columbia.
Almost. We drank ourselves out of it.
Fuck.
Oh, I'm sure there's still going to be fallout from this one. This is one of those, like, 10-year drunks. You happens, and you're like, I didn't know.
What was the final tally? Could you
Absolutely no idea.
If we have ballpark it for what you could remember, like you must have some sense of.
Well,
volume.
I saw there was a couple of 40-pounders empty, and like I drank maybe a case of beer. So
between two of you.
Yeah, 3 of us to start, but ended up just being 2.
Jesus, that would kill most people.
Plus,
in
it
one
already
shot.
was also by the time we started drinking, it was 1:00 in the afternoon, and I had worked 2 bar shifts and been up the day before, so I'd already like had a pleasant buzz rolling for a few hours, right?
It's incredible to me that your like imagine your body and at least part of your brain was like still moving around and doing things and having conversations after
Amazing
no
is the wrong
sleep.
word.
And
Amazing is the wrong word. Nightmarish, embarrassing,
okay.
and dangerous is probably the real word.
Right.
I have some vague recollections of being one of the people of Burger King, which is not all right.
Yeah, what do you remember?
I remember, okay, you know when you have those moments of lucidity?
Yeah.
When you
Those
sort of like,
pockets. Like a
swim,
dream,
like,
yeah.
you
Sort of
swim to
dream
the
it.
surface of whatever the hell's wrong with you just for a minute or two and realize the place you're at or what's going on. Sometimes it's great. You're like, I'm at my friend's house. I know I'm safe. Excellent. Other times you're holding onto the counter at Burger King, swaying back and forth like a leaf in the breeze, trying to read a menu that all looks Chinese because you can't see anything. And speaking to a woman who's obviously been talking to you for a while, is quite flustered by the fact that you can't speak English and have held up a very long lineup of people, but is too afraid to do really anything more than beg you to make an order because, you know, you're a giant having an episode at the counter there.
Maybe you weren't at a Burger King. Maybe you were at a Chinese restaurant.
I was pretty sure I was at a Burger. Well, I had Burger.
Like,
Okay, so
I just want a Whopper.
Why doesn't anyone speak English?
in the Thai food place demanding a Whopper and poutine. They're like, so we don't have a on our menu. No, this Burger King sucks.
Straight up speaking Chinese.
No, I'm
to you,
pretty
you're
sure. Like I said,
English.
Let
I
me
swam
speak to
to-
the king.
I swam
I
to
want
the
onion
surface. I
rings.
swam, like I said, I swam to the
Chinese
surface
mafia
just
king
long
comes
enough
out.
to recognize that I was in a Burger King. Managed to place an order, to which she was very happy, like profoundly pleased that I accomplished that. She took the money. I staggered off to the side, got my order.
She's just
Yeah, and
terrified the whole time.
That's what I mean.
She's just terrified.
Well, no, except that this woman is actually
Please.
unshakable.
Order.
I've had she wasn't terrified. She was flustered. I've had
She's
experience
dealt
with her
this.
there. No, I've had experiences there with her before, like the guy masturbating furiously in the doorway to the bathrooms,
Furious.
like lying on the floor, not in the bathroom, lying in the hallway. So the counter's here, door to the washroom's there. He's lying in the doorway, like beating his shit like it owes him money. You know what I mean? Just going for it.
It's Whopper Wednesday. It was
and
Whopper
I'm- and
Wednesday. Can you blame him?
And I'm laughing, so I look over and I jokingly say to her, I'll have what he's having. And without cracking a smile, she goes, 2 Junior Whopper, and starts punching them in.
Right.
Like, that's what Junior Whoppers do to you? Shit. That was like a lifelong crystal meth addiction, but my mistake. It's just Junior Whoppers.
Just 2 Junior Whoppers.
You never had a Junior Whopper?
I have, but it never made me chronically masturbate in front of a bunch of strangers.
They call it the
The Wackinator?
Yeah, the furious masturbator.
You need the special sauce.
Yeah, I
in
heard
that.
Burger Kings are running out. They're like on the way out, phasing out. Is that true?
I have no idea.
Where'd you hear that?
I don't know.
I know there are
made
less
it
of them
up.
than there used
I
to
just
be.
made it up.
I mean,
You heard
but
like
then again, Burger King's one of those things.
I haven't
I
been
don't
there
think
in a
I've
while.
ever actually had like a Burger King craving. Burger King happens because it just so
When do-
happens to be across the street from
When
where
do
I
you
work.
when do you see one open up? I know that there's
Right.
ones around, but I've never seen
Oh,
one.
and the ones that
actually
are around,
open up.
another sign they're slowly going out is that most of them are 24 hours.
But
that's-
A&Ws are, and they are opening.
Right, but A&Ws are opening everywhere.
Yeah,
Like-
they're bomb.
A&W's great.
Yeah,
They really are. But at the same time, once there's an A&W in every street corner, I'm
It's
going
gonna
to
be
be kind of
like-
sick of A&W, man.
yeah, that's true. Because it was good. Because it was always kind of hard to find.
Like, I grew up in the East End, where we used to have coffee times on every
Ooh.
corner.
Ooh.
Remember that? Oh, remember
When
that?
coffee was acceptable, even when it was terrible. Like,
But it
when,
was good.
when
When it first-
McDonald's still had the brown sludge for
yeah,
coffee.
when
like,
McDonald's
they didn't
was
even
bad.
care.
No, they didn't
Do
care.
you remember when they didn't care at all? Like, you'd order a coffee, you'd take one sip, like, it literally tasted like someone just took a shit in this cup. And you take a look at it, it would look kind of like that too, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
Jesus fuck, and they'd be like, what? It's coffee at McDonald's. What do you expect?
Yeah,
Now it's like, McFucking cafe. Like, are you kidding me?
they
I
bought.
totally remember orange drank and like fucking shit in a cup. That was their breakfast. Oh, like some of the orange juice. Orange juice, really? It was like worse than Tang. You could tell it was like this was maybe crystals earlier this afternoon, or most likely just something we pumped into the tank. You know,
Coffee time used to be good, like back in the 90s.
What?
Coffee time was never good. No,
What?
coffee time was
Coffee time
great.
was never.
No, coffee time
Maybe
was
the
great.
original one when they were
Coffee
like
time was any
kind?
handmade sandwiches.
Oh, I was just gonna say,
The coffee was good,
My
wasn't it?
girlfriend loved coffee back in the day, and when McDonald's was crap, and we always go in. I'd always look at the coffee pot, that's been sitting on the burner for like a day or whatever it is, and it's like half of it's like burnt down, and like it's all brown sludge and barely rinsed out.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you gonna drink that? She's like, it's coffee. Yeah.
You go
Sludge.
into
It's
coffee
sludge.
time and you're like, I will have a large 2 milk, 2 sugar, 2 cigarette butts, please.
Yeah.
Fun fact: my old man actually did some video production for Coffee Time back in the day to help their marketing. Never got paid.
Wow.
And they're out of business.
Are they done? Are coffee times done?
Yeah.
They're
Oh.
not gone
I
everywhere.
think it's
but
done,
like,
mate.
I think the franchise is pretty much dead. I think people, if they still own one, they're allowed to have them. But-
Time's up.
But
Coffee
okay,
time.
one of my ex-girlfriends worked in coffee time for quite a while, and I used to tell people like the only thing
Nice.
they make in house is muffins, so don't eat them.
Wow.
And she's like, and people are like, why is that? I'm like, well, look, I've had sex in the kitchen here a few times and stuff like that, and other things as well. Just like knowing what's like, the tubs that the muffin mix comes in, they arrive off of like it's not like a like a big shipping truck. Usually it's like some fucking like van pulls up and some guy like unloads these like 4-gallon square plastic tubs. Sometimes they're open, sometimes they're not. Like, don't do it, man.
Is that one of the dirtiest places you've ever had sex? I feel like that's right up there with like alley, dumpster,
It was up
coffee
there.
time kitchen.
It was up there.
Ugh.
It definitely
Hockey
was.
You'll step
arena.
on a needle, right?
Hockey
Like,
arena.
oh
There
shit!
you go.
Hockey arena. Yeah.
Keg room.
Cave. What'd you say?
Keg room.
Keg room.
Keg room. Yeah, keg rooms aren't that dirty usually, though. Really, I mean they can be, but
That's what it was.
they're also freezers.
Yeah,
I've
no,
had
this
sex in a
is
few
this
keg rooms.
is yeah. This,
Sewage treatment.
That's I got caught. I
plant.
got caught. I
got caught too.
I got totally caught by an overzealous bartender. He thought like he had me. Like he's like impeachment.
Yeah.
Like he
yeah.
thought he got me, right? He comes jumping into the back room. He's like, "There you are, Bob. What are you doing in here?" And like my pants are on my ankles, and the girl's right there, and like, I'm doing like rails off her,
Stealing
I'm doing
beer?
rails off her titties. No, I can get free, but I didn't have to worry about that. And he's like, "We caught you. You can't party down here." And yet I'm like, "Well, just go tell the boss." And he's like, "I will." And I'm like, "Yeah, you do that." He's like, "What are you gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna finish up here, and I'll see you in a bit." So I finish up and I go upstairs and I walk in and he's scowling at me and the boss is there and the boss is trying not to smirk and I'm like, "So, what's up?" He's like, so the boss looks at me honestly and goes, "Were you in the keg room shooting that gorgeous blonde chick with the giant titties?" And I was like, "Yep,
And high five.
absolutely." Not quite, but he looked at the bartender and was like, why are you ratting out your coworkers for doing like rock and roll things
Yeah.
in a rock and roll bar? Like, what did you expect was going to happen here? Look, why don't you just go back to work and stop being jealous of Bob?" And I was like,
Yeah. This ain't public school anymore, kids.
You were like,
Guy needs to go back to work
He
at
was
coffee
like-
time.
he was like,
Yeah,
he was like,
exactly.
he was like, Greg, you're fucking fired. And then you beat the shit out of him, and you were like, snitches get stitches. That's bad. What an asshole. You should have been giving you.
That was the same. That was the same.
Should've
That
been
was the
giving you
same
employee
boss
of the
though,
month.
that had to have a meeting with me with some of the other security guards and the DJs stuff because apparently I was like stealing too many people's girlfriends at the end of the night. Like doing one of the, it was just, and it was again being a young bouncer. It's a habit. It's a job related risk. If you're high enough and drunk enough on the job, what you'll see is a sad girl at the end of the night. There's always one at the bar. And it's a goth bar too. So I mean, we're talking like dynamite fishing in a bucket here, right?
They were all sad to begin with. Yeah.
So I see a sad looking girl standing by the end of the bar, and I walk over. I'm like, hey, how's it going? I work here. My name's Bob. You met me, right? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, you don't look very happy. What's wrong? It's like, I'm just having a very great night. I look around. I don't see anybody. Like there's no guy standing there going like, you know. So I'm like, I live a couple blocks away. I'm just about to get off, but on this job, do you want to hook up and go for a drink or two, or whatever? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Why not? Now it's on the video footage later that I realized there was a sad guy going.
Looking like Wario for everyone who's
I
not
just
looking.
ignored him completely because all the guys were goths and everyone looked sad. So how am I supposed to tell whether he's sad because I'm stealing his wife or he's sad because, you know, he missed tea party or something, right? Like, I don't know. So I finally actually called it. I couldn't believe this. It was one of those things, again, it's so surreal. It's like they called into the office. And I'm like, yeah, I have all kinds of problems. Like, I'm late for work. I'm often high. I'm drunk all the time. What do you want? What now? I try not to have sex in the keg room anymore. I'm sorry. You know, and they're like, no, it's not about that. And I'm like, what? Well, what is it? So they show me this little video montage of sad guys and me leaving with chicks. And I'm like, yeah, I fucked all those girls. Yeah. Am I getting an award? Like, is this Blue Ribbon night or what? Like, what? And no, then it's like everyone's all somber. They're like, Bob, we're getting like complaints. People are calling in, like internet complaints. Like the head office is actually getting calls that this doorman keeps stealing people's wives and girlfriends. Like it's a big deal. And I'm like,
It's a pandemic.
that's what I said. Thank you for saying that, Mel.
It's not like they were over your shoulder. You didn't,
Well, yeah,
you
it wasn't
didn't
like I
King
just
Kong
ran
them.
in, like scooped them off the ground and fled. I was like, hey, would you like to come with me for a drink? Not one of them said, I would, but my boyfriend's over there looking really sad. Right? Instead, they all said, fuck you, and came with me. I mean, anyway. So, you know, like I said, you can't take what ain't never was yours. It just came with me. You thought it was yours, but you was wrong. And the next morning, I'm like, breakfast and bus fare, like, bowl of clementines, jar of quarters. Why are we still talking? Like, you should go back to that guy who was sad or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Did Jim eat mushrooms today? Jim, are you all right? I think Jim's on mushrooms. Okay.
I love it.
You all right?
He may have had something.
Okay. Karim, we got to talk to Karim because Karim has an injury. We got a team member injured. He's got what is that thing called? A splint on your wrist? Apparently you punched through a heavy bag today.
Not through, but I punched not today either. But yeah, I did punch a heavy bag.
is that a euphemism?
pretty
Is that a
much.
euphemism?
You punched a heavy bag.
No, I'm actually being for real. Like I was at the gym like a couple of days ago, and my way of venting out frustration and all that shit is basically just going to town on a heavy bag, which ends up landing me in trouble because I got banned from one place from hitting the heavy bag because I kind of like broke it. Anyways, this bag is a brand new. And
What?
I was,
Okay, wait. We're doing a little bit of a rewind there. If I owned a fucking gym that had a heavy bag in it, and this gorgeous motherfucker walked in front of people in the gym and hit the bag hard enough to break it, I'd be like, and that's why you pay $68 a month in fucking retainer fees, because we have supermen in the building. Now, you work out long enough, you might be half as cool as that guy. Hang the next heavy bag and be like,
Yeah, you
Carry
should have
on.
got an award.
anyway, I'm sorry. That's just me.
You should have taken your picture next to it and put it on the fucking
I
wall.
actually have a picture of the thing. It was not actually, it was not a heavy bag. It's one of those bags where like the base is like filled with water and sand,
Oh,
and then there's a
kick
bag.
bag.
Yeah, it
Right.
was a kick. Exactly, it was a kick bag. So I kicked it enough to like actually like bend the top.
Sure.
Nice. It's not one of those rubber ones that's in the shape of a man. is
No,
it?
it was
It's
like
in the shape
straight
of
up.
an angry Polish man who's just like, you know what I'm
All-
talking about,
it's
with
like,
a
yeah.
flat top. Like he's
Ni-
got a
ni-
flat
yeah.
top.
1965 Dolph Lundgren.
It was after he kicked it. It took that shape.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they had to
Basically.
put the
No,
chronic masturbators restraint
So
on your
the
wrist.
place where I've been banned from hitting the heavy bag is actually where I train martial arts.
Okay.
This heavy bag was just at my gym. The reason why I actually ended up with the injury is because I have to adjust my bag depending on if I go to the gym or if I go to train.
Sure.
Because if I go to the gym, I'll probably bring like my belt for squats, and then change of clothes and a towel, and maybe like lifting gloves. If I go to the to train martial arts, I'll probably bring my gloves, my wraps, my mouth guard,
His
etc.
rubber mask.
So
Ball
yes,
gag.
sometimes.
The power of positive thinking. you
So I
know.
was at the gym. I realized that I left my wraps at home, but I was really fucking pissed off, and I really needed that frustration to get out of my system. So I just wore my gloves and started going to town on that bag. I hit. And you know the thing where you go uppercut,
Yeah.
you keep going? That's what I was doing. Except after maybe like the fifth or sixth one, my fist hit the bag at a weird angle, because when you
Well, the
really
bag's moving
angry,
too.
and the bag is moving, exactly. When you're really angry, like technique goes out of the fucking
Of
window.
course.
So
You're
I
freight
hit the
training it. You're
bag.
just pumping it. The arms are going. You're not really paying attention to what you're doing. I understand
exactly
that.
what happened. So bag is moving. I'm hitting fucking hard. I hit, and yeah, my wrist did not like that. No, like I felt it up my arm.
Yeah.
I was like,
Ooh.
yep, nope.
That
I'm,
sucks.
I'm
That's brutal.
I'm stopping now.
Yeah.
Did you get it diagnosed, or you just slap that thing on?
No,
'cause it
I've
feels
had
better?
this injury enough times
Oh,
to know
yeah.
what it is.
It's not the first time you punched
No.
too hard.
Yeah.
No,
The two things happen.
Unfortunately, it's not.
Boxers breaks and wrist sprains are. That's just par for the course.
So-
if you're doing any combat sports,
Here's my question: what angered you so much that you were so fucking pissed off that you were like, "Fuck that shit," and you just fucking beat the shit out of the thing till you hurt your wrist? What was it?
No, it
What
was
was
not
it?
Jabril.
he was in the bag.
We're trying to pay him more, Karim. All right, we're trying to pay him more for this.
Fuck those
It's like,
fucking
fuck those
39
drunken
dainty
disorderlies.
motherfuckers.
It's so fucking yeah. What was it? You don't want to share it? Was it relationship?
Women. Let's just say women.
Oh, wow. Well, good for you for punching a bag and not the woman.
Yeah, who likes to punch things?
A lot of people just would have, right? Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah, a lot of people would have just hauled off, and after the fifth uppercut, when your wrist was kind of like this, you'd have been like, "Wow, I told her fucking twice. Should have listened." You know?
Right.
No,
Really?
it's like certain women have like they have a talent to piss me off.
Is it someone you know, so they know like you're they're like
they know exactly how to.
they
like-
needle you?
Remember earlier, Bob, I told you that I punched through a wall one time.
Yep.
Same person. Same person. So yeah.
Nice.
I mean, you
Really
guys have heard my
know how to
stories over
fucking
the years.
push
You
my
know,
buttons.
ex cheated on me, and I threw a fucking radiator through a guy's door. Shit like this. These women can. That's my dad said it a long, long time ago. My dad's one of my heroes, and I respect him very much. He says, "Bob, one of your problems, and it always will be, is women, because you're I guess a highly emotional sort, and I do when I care about something or someone, I care deeply, and that's an in, you know. And I also used to have a really difficult time managing, you know, letting people into my armor, but only letting them in so far. You know what I mean? Like we all play that game where it's like, okay, it's like I don't know, like a tower defense game with our lives, right? We'll let some people in this far, some people in this far, and some people in all the way. But I think we all police that, especially now that we're older. Most adults anyway police that, because you have professional lives where you have to be upfront, charismatic, and open with people to some extent. But you still got to keep those people at arm's length because your own personal mental health requires that they can't be part of your inner sphere. Because, I mean, again, if you work as a bouncer or you work in an office or you work anywhere, you know, and you bring that shit home, it becomes part of your personal sphere, you'll kill yourself. I mean, that'll ruin you, you know? So I think we all play that game. We balance those emotions, right?
Yeah.
So I had a lot of problems with that as a young man. And so, I also mistook, especially when I was like just as an early teenager discovering sexuality, I definitely took someone who would sleep with me for being someone I was emotionally involved with. I would imagine, castles in the clouds that weren't there. So it's like, yeah, because the girl's willing to fuck you because you're kind of a weird, cute guy or whatever, or she enjoyed you at that party that time, or, does not mean that this is the woman you're going to marry. This is going to be the end all be all of your life. And I had a lot of trouble disseminating those two emotional states, right? Like sleeping with someone and not dating them or not thinking I was in love with them.
Immediately. Yeah.
So until I was 16 and realized that I just couldn't play that game anymore. I couldn't, I was a serial monogamist that just got treated like shit because girls weren't playing the same game I was playing. They were better at it. And I was losing and it hurt a lot. And I was disappointed and constantly frustrated. My dad was like, look, just fucking relax, man. This is your problem. You're taking all this way too seriously when you have no idea what you're doing. Like, figure out what you're doing before you're going to take anything seriously. Like, work it out, man. Like, honestly. Don't run after every skirt that passes your way. And, worse than that, if you're going to, then know what you're into. Right? And that's pretty good advice, I think, for all young men out there, especially in today's day. Because nothing's changed. Nothing's really changed. I mean, it seems much like it has because of all the fear that's been created between men and women by the cultural divide that we live in. But the rules are exactly the same. Okay? Women have the sexual dominant control over yes and no. That's simple. So you apply the math to that and ask a woman, would you like to be with me? And she says, no. Okay. You shrug it off. You ask the next woman, right? And if that's all you're looking for, if you're not here to date, if you're at a meat market, like you're in a bar, you just want to pick up, just get a drink, wander around and talk. If it appears immediately, and get to the point, also get to the point. Because if you just want to pick up, there's a lot of people out there who want more, but there's a lot of people who want less. So walking up to the average woman, because women aren't different from you guys, welcome to it. They want to get fucked too, They want to have a good time and party with people. They just want it to be honest and open and meaningful, at least on some degree. And meaningful can mean that at least I said, I chose this guy. That's meaningful enough for some women. And that's what you're looking for. You're running your numbers and getting sad about it and getting demented about it and getting weird about it and using that as a judgment against all women is something that I think a lot of guys fear. They get into that situation and then they shut down. They're like, oh, I can't ask women. I've been said no to 3 times tonight. Well, there's 60 girls in the bar, right? You got 57 more opportunities to get a yes. And if that doesn't work for you, there's always the back pages of the now.
Oh boy.
Like, fuck you, man. Your options are right there. It's real, and hey, man. I have no fucking problem with sex workers, man. That's an honest profession.
Actually, there's an option before that. Like, in today's world, there's dating apps.
Sure.
There's dating apps and there's Reddit. Reddit is a fucked up place.
Right, but dating apps, I have my doubts about online dating only because I've seen
what do you mean by
where that can go. Either it's great for people and it works for them, or people encounter the craziest weirdos.
Yes.
So one of the problems I think with online dating, this is a panel question I'm going to drop on the floor for everybody. Do you think that internet dating has the face-to-face honesty to really be something you can trust? Or is it something that you only trust if you've set up like a social system to deal with it? Like, I meet them at a coffee shop, talk to them first.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
When I pick up a girl at a bar, I'm talking to her. I at least know who I'm talking to.
Already, yeah.
And the subtle cues, face cues, conversational topics, these things can be so easily scammed on the internet,
You don't have to. You were like, I know you look like a gorgeous 27-year-old blonde, but you're not by chance a 46-year-old Chinese man, are you?
That's right.
Like,
and you know what? Even further than that is sometimes you see these long-winded profiles on dating apps about like every single thing about this woman, and then so that when it comes time to actually meeting up, you don't really have a lot to talk about because there's nothing to discover. It's not happening in the moment.
Yeah,
There's like-
absolutely.
and they're like, I don't even want to talk to you if you haven't read my profile. It's like, that takes all the fun out of it. I want to.
I
talk
don't
to you
have
about your
time to
profile.
read the Coles notes on having coffee with you. Thank you kindly, right? I don't know. Also, I think the spontaneity. I'm a huge fan of spontaneity because if there's no emotional click, it's not going to be there. So I didn't do a lot of internet dating or online dating. I've done some, but you guys know I'm like an internet peasant. I really can't stand social media. Like it really drives me crazy. But the internet dating I did do was just one of those things, exactly what you'd expect. You show up, either, okay, we can get drunk and fuck tonight, because we're both just nihilists who posted shit on Facebook. Or, this is awkward and really strange right off the bat, and I'm gonna boot. Like, I'm out of here. This is too weird. Like sitting in a bar and having some girl try and tell me that I'm trying to save the world, and I had this site, and he starts going off, and I'm like, oh God, I'm in a fan fiction story.
Yeah,
and I'm not even sure what bad movie it's a fan fiction of, but I'm definitely in one right now. Waiter, I have diphtheria and have to leave. Anything, just like feign a stroke, whatever. Go to the bathroom and climb out a window way too small and knock a hole in the wall, There are ways out. There are always ways
Go to
out.
the toilet, look for the gun. Come on.
Yeah, it's got to be here.
Fredo.
It's got to be here. No, wait. It's like one of those movies. Start looking for the seam in your stomach where you smuggled the weapon in. No, I'm not one of those films. Not Cronenberg. Fuck. Wait a second. They just walk out into the dining room and start doing this. But yeah, I don't know. I don't trust internet dating. I don't trust. The reason I don't trust it is, again, because,
Honestly,
yes, it's algorithmic, and I don't like that either.
It's not really.
I don't like the idea of
algorithmic.
robots
It's
telling me
more-
what looks good to me.
It's
either.
very shallow. Like,
Well, of course it is.
I'll tell you this straight up: from being above 6 feet tall black guy, just saying that on my Tinder profile gets me matches.
Of course it does.
Then the
Interesting.
thing. The thing with that is that, like, afterwards, as you said, you gotta have like kind of like a filter.
That's actually fucking great, though. I
process.
think everyone should put that on their. I'm an over 6'2" black man. So Lars just shows up.
description.
6'4" Afro Canadian.
Then you show up and you just roll with it. Like you just.
Right.
What's your last name? Magato. Just bomb it out. Like I used to carry multiple IDs, and one of them was Michael Huang Liang. It was this SIN card I found years ago when I was working, and I got arrested carrying it. It was the only ID I had on me. It was lost and found ID. And so I straight up, the cops give me a hard time, give me the work. So I tried. I'm like, "What, are you racist? I'm like, you don't like us Chinese people? I'm like, what's the problem?" He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my name's Michael Huang Liang, straight face. Like, don't bat an eyelash." He's like, yeah, my mom's Chinese. My dad's English. What's your fucking problem? I'm like, is this a racist thing? And he got so nervous. He's like, I don't know what to do with this giant guy, blah, blah, blah. And his partner's like, oh, this is really weird. And I'm like, look, I was just smoking a fucking joint. I'm walking home. Like, what, you just racially profiling me? You don't like Chinese people or what? And it's me, right? Like, I mean, that's pretty bad.
Robert, Michael, Malcolm.
Yeah, like pretty fucking Scottish, Irish, obviously, right? But
That's
I just stood on it. I just stood on it, and the guys got really awkward. Like, well, if you throw the lit joint away, and fucking promise not to do it again, Mr. Huang Liang. He's like, then you can just go on your way, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
I should have just thrown him.
Well, because if your eyes get as squinty as nabbers do when you get super baked, then you might have, it's like, okay.
No, that's the worst part. I have no excuse. I just lied. Just straight up lied.
It's great.
Have you guys ever seen a red-headed Asian gentleman before?
Nabbers just asked.
No, it's
we ever
because
seen a
hey, look,
red-headed
I'm not going to
Asian?
definitively say this, okay? Geneticists and the internet out there, I'm sure you can prove me wrong, but I've fucking never seen it. I'm fairly certain that's not a thing.
I might have seen an albino Asian person, and maybe they had red hair, or maybe I'm thinking of the Matrix or something.
Matrix.
Seriously. Okay, you know what, fans out there? Since I don't know, and none of us are geneticists. We have no
You're a
fucking
redheaded
clue. We're not exactly
Asian.
well-traveled or particularly eloquent either. So if you've ever seen a ginger Asian guy which I'm certain I have not.
Let's look it up.
And I mean, like, not hennaed or dyed. I mean, like, this is like a village in like mainland China, and there's this ginger dude hanging out there, like hoeing his lawn or something. That's what I want to see.
If you or someone you know
Like
is a
K-pop
ginger
stars
Asian,
do not apply.
hit us
You know
up
what I mean?
at 39DD Show on any platform, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We'll fly you into the studio.
And then fly to Colombia.
Straight from Beijing.
Or a ginger Asian guy.
Let's do
That's
it.
terribly racist. We probably should not talk.
It's not racist.
Sorry,
interesting.
it's on the very tail end, and if anyone's
that
still
racist?
listening,
It's an interesting.
bless you.
It's something we've never seen before.
See,
It's
we're
not
we're
racist,
getting
it's
something
They're
here,
looking it
but
up. They're looking it up.
yeah,
Our crack
it's-
team in the studio here is just
Doesn't
Doesn't
count
for
if it's
real.
anime.
It's an endangered species.
Really?
Okay, so you just found a racist meme online? Is that what you found, or what? If you Google ginger Asian, it's just racist memes.
Jim just.
All right. Well, for the record, they were on the internet before we looked them up. We had nothing to
We
do
didn't
with this.
ask them to go on the internet.
Right.
We just.
Yeah, it's like an anime character with red hair.
So
All right. Things took a weird ginger Asian turn at the end of things here.
To be fair, gingers in general are an endangered species just due to the regressive nature of the genes.
And for those of you listening, Nabber's talking right now is a ginger. So.
I do have red hair and a
allowed
very
to.
fair
Big
complexion.
But it's recessive, so doesn't it just kind of pop up again later? Like,
Yeah, it shows up every now and again.
So
but-
it can't really be gone.
well, I'm a
then.
calico, so I do know where it comes from. Like I have it in my genes as well. My beard will change colors from blonde to really dark brown to red, and it depends on the amount of sunlight I get.
Depends on his mood.
Yeah, you know, I'm like a squid that way. Fuck off, Trevor.
All right. We probably got to wrap things up. Yeah.
We
I know
are.
exactly what we accomplished.
One more
today,
time,
but
guys. It's
sometimes
November,
just us
and
hanging out.
November is men's health. And one of the things about it is mental health. That's probably the biggest one. Again, not to bang any drums anywhere, but if you know somebody who's struggling with trying to live through this season,
Mhm.
keep them close, hug them up, and love them. Now's the time. Otherwise, you
Stay
know,
in touch. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because I've known a lot of people over the years, some healthy, some healthy, some seemed fine, some did not, who bit the bullet or disappeared. And I think it's important. So cheers. That's my shout out for the end of the show. Thanks, guys. Take care of each other.